Well, it definitely has been a really tough time this year. Like, I've never seen so little activity on properties. The amount of buyers that are out there is just so dismal. They have so many choices, so they're only going to look at the right home that makes sense for them if it's the right price or it's on the right lot or in the right building with the right view.
This episode of the Under the Table podcast is brought to you by Shrubs.me, your all-in-one digital hub. Share files, links, videos, and more from one beautiful customizable page. Picture a cross between Dropbox, Linktree, and Patreon. Get your free account with 2.5 gigabytes of cloud storage today at Shrubs.me.
And it's difficult. It's challenging. It's hard to guide your clients and tell them and say, what do you do? Because a lot of them have needs. A lot of the people I'm dealing with right now, they need to sell. They're not like, we're not just testing the market. Like we have a timeline. And if we don't sell by a certain timeline, things are going to be, in trouble. I've never dealt with so many of these type
Can
of
I
people
ask that?
in the
Like, what's
last year.
driving? That's a really interesting statement. So
Statement
what
of
are you
claims from the
finding?
lender. Those
Oh
are
shit,
pretty
really?
popular right now. Oh yeah. So a lot of the people we sell are pre-power sale. It's on the way to power sale, and we try to offer them solutions to be able to help pay off their debts. Other people, they got an interest rate. One guy's got a renewal coming up next month. He's with a B lender. His rate goes from 6 to 9%. He's already negative cash flow $2,000. He's going to be negative cash flowing $5,000. He doesn't have the money. We got to lend him money just to make those payments. So he's like, "What do I do?"
Wow.
Right? And we're getting no
And
showings.
would you say that is like, is that considerably different, that trend that you're seeing than say 6 or 12 months ago?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
considerably
see, that
worse.
gives me pause when I hear
Yep.
stuff like that. That gives me
Yep.
pause. And like,
Yep.
look, I'm humble enough to know I get a lot of calls wrong. So I don't, I have a roadmap for how I think this is going to play out. But I'll be honest, when I hear you say something like that, that makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
So,
We have a
Well,
we have
but
and
what's
a
causing that specifically? Why now? Why not? Why was that not an issue 6 months ago or 12 months ago? Because rates were higher 12 months ago.
Yeah. So most of these people, they had these issues. They're pre-existing, but they've burned through their credits. They burned through their line of credits. They burned through their savings. They've rented out
Mhm.
a room. They've gone through that. So they were already at this point
the
12 to
rates
18 months
doubled.
ago,
The rates
right?
doubled since they bought it too, probably, right?
But
Yeah, but
most
not from a year ago. Like they would
yeah,
have been at the highs almost 2 years
the
ago.
problem started 2 years ago, and they were weathering the storm. So they started coming up with all these solutions in order to be able to try to solve their problem. They refinanced 2 years ago to take out that last bit of equity, suck it out in order to be able to, hope that the market got better a year or two later. And so now they got no lenders that are going to serve them whatsoever. The loan to values are already off. The second lenders, I had lenders knocking the first day they missed the payment. The next day they're starting to knock on the door saying, "You missed your payment yesterday." Private lenders, because that's how concerned they are about the equity left in the home. And we're selling them like, either the statement of claims been issued or they've already had their letters from the lender's lawyer issued to them saying, that you've missed one payment. The first position lenders usually have the payment made by the second position lender. So the first position lender's not doing anything because he's getting his money no matter what. So now the second position lender's on high alert because they've already got another 20 clients like these right now. So they're trying to make sure that that they get their money, and they're acting fast. There's no more like, "Hey, we'll wait and give you some time." They don't care about your
Mm.
story, and they demand the entire amount right away. They don't say you're behind 3 grand. They
Because
say
they're
you owe us
trying
$230,000. We want everything right
yeah,
now.
they're trying to avoid like a windfall of people that are coming at them, right? Because it's
They're,
like
they're
a
trying to
levee's about to break. I'm telling you.
And when they take over and the market continues to go down the way it is, they're left with nothing and they don't want to lose money. So they're
People are
trying to,
waiting for like their condos that they've used the line of credit for to close in a couple of months. Like there's all kinds of shenanigans that still haven't played
Mm.
themselves out.
Yeah.
And like from the boardrooms I'm in with guys that own the properties that are frozen for like 2 years of not even launching yet. Like you're gonna start to see the patient money become a little less patient because 1 year condos, I don't know what starts the absorption going as more shit's coming on the
Yeah.
market, nothing, right? And all these idiots are listing at the same time. Like it's gonna be a little while, I think, before the condo market cleans
Well,
itself up and and we haven't seen failures yet. Like we've seen some. I think there's some pretty good failures that still have to come down the pipe.
totally agree. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
you
Well,
mean the
what you're
building?
talking about, Daryl, is you're talking about the development space, which I agree with you is going to be a disaster for a while. But would you also agree that what's being described in the resale market, this kind of emerging stress that wasn't there 6, 12 months ago? Like, are you seeing that as well? Are you hearing that?
I mean, I hear it because I deal with TK. I'm not so involved in that part of the market. I mean, I'm not
Gotcha.
involved at all,
Gotcha.
other than through just
Yeah.
hearing stories from realtors I know. But it seems like there's a lot more pressure on a lot more people because there seems to be this segment of entrepreneurs that got their equity in their house, and like there's a lot of businesses under a lot of pressure right now, right? And they still
Yeah.
haven't
Oh,
even
for sure. That's true.
and
Yeah.
they need a way out, or they need to get to that equity, and there's just a whole bunch of clusterfucks going on. And then you
Yeah.
hear
Okay. You
stuff.
guys got me way more bearish for sure. That's interesting to hear you say that it's noticeably worse than it was even a few months ago. That's really interesting to me.
I just keep thinking, like, where is the real trouble? Because I feel like we haven't seen anything so major yet. Like, we've seen a few things that were okay, but like we didn't. Right. And so we're already, you're saying 40% down, I guess, in real terms. I don't
In
know
real
what that,
terms, yeah.
yeah, which is, yeah, I mean, who the hell knows what the fuck real terms even is anymore? Because, I mean, these stats they give us are, well, I don't know. They're unreliable, I think, at best, right? But we need something to work
Ben
on.
lives in stats, Daryl.
Oh, but I know
Okay,
that was one of
you
my
just got to
Well,
know
don't
how
questions.
to
worry about
read them.
real.
That was one of
Like,
my
just look at
questions for
nominal
Battle.
prices. Like,
Right.
you've got a lot of big metros that are down 20-25% in nominal terms from peak.
Yeah.
Like,
But
that's already a historic downturn, man.
well, and so I mean, the solace I find in that number is that a lot of it is in the Bancrofts and in the Durhams and in the undesirable
Yeah.
places that went bananas during COVID, like the giant corrections, right? But like if you start adding real terms, then like no matter what, everything's fucked up for sure.
Yeah, I don't, man. Okay, so look, I'll just tell you, Korea disagrees with you. So their house price index,
Uh-oh.
if you just go, you can verify this data. Go to Korea Stats or their HPI tool.
Yeah.
Download the data, their house price index. If you index it back to kind of call it February 2022, and you look at the percentage change, well, here, you know what? I'll pull up the data while we're talking because
Yeah.
I was actually just crunching this today. So I'll tell
This
you,
is nominal. This is nominal.
this is
numbers?
Yeah,
nominal declines.
nationally has its issues because of the um, stability you've got in other markets. Because ultimately, inflation, right? The value of the dollar has gone down, and so when people are buying in these smaller, more emerging markets, whether it be New Brunswick or even Montreal and all these type of places, they're going to have a little bit less of an impact overall. Because at the end of the day, the
Yeah.
reasons that a lot of those places went up, yeah, there's some population growth, yeah, there's some undersupply and all that kind of stuff, but ultimately it was just like the value of the dollar was going down. You got less for your money. You had to pay a little bit more for houses. But I think there's across nationally, the house price index, I don't think is as indicative of what's going on in the markets as you would see in Vancouver, Toronto, like Southern
Yep.
Ontario.
Well, let me
like,
give you guys the numbers. Let me give you
yeah,
guys the numbers. I'm looking
yeah,
at them
yeah,
right now.
yeah.
So
Okay.
it's just to be clear, it's not just the smaller suburbs. You're right. The ring kind of around the big metros that kind of benefited from that work from home exodus in 2020 boomed a lot and has
Yeah.
pulled back.
Yeah.
But it's not just the little metros, man. So nationally, you're talking. So I'm looking at the numbers right now. The change from February 2022, minus 17.5% nominally. Nationally.
National. Wow.
Yeah.
Vancouver's only down 6, but you get into Southern Ontario, Hamilton down 26.5, Kitchener down 26, London down 24, Ottawa's down 8.6, Toronto down 21.8.
Wow.
These are massive, and this is before you roll in the impact of inflation. So, getting back to the point we discussed a minute ago, the people who are getting really bearish now, like, I just don't know. I don't know how, like, I don't know that we're going to be here and you're going to get another 20% down. It's possible, man. I've been around long enough to know that the prediction business is hard business, but I don't know you're going to get another 20% down from here.
I fucking hope not, but I'd be interested. So I've noticed something over my experience, and I have nothing to quantify this, and maybe you'll have time, maybe you won't. I don't know that it matters, but I find that when there's a lot of giant swaths of land, like when you drive up and down the 400 or the 404 or like go across the 401 and you see those big 143 acre parcels for sale and 257 acres and 52 acres, when those start piling up, I'd be interested to see like what happens from that kind of a peak in the market. because right now I feel like everywhere I turn, there's giant parcels for sale. And I feel like
Yep.
that's an indicator of, uh-oh, the smart guys know something about something right now. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm
Well,
right.
They're
I
subject to
talked
the
to
same.
Jeremiah Shamus. Like, you guys, I'm sure you
Yeah.
guys know Jer. He's great. I mean, he'll tell you straight up. Any sort of development land in Toronto across the GTA, you're down 40 to 60% from peak
Yeah.
in the development component, which totally computes. I believe that completely.
Yeah, it's scary. A lot of guys are buying land, getting it zoned, getting it appraised at less than they paid for the land.
Yeah.
How do you make that?
You got one exit strategy from there.
Well,
so-
but some of those turn
Purpose
into
built
Ponzi
rental.
schemes. Right?
Raise the equity, or start another Ponzi scheme.
That's how it
scheme.
starts.
Raise the money,
Uh-oh.
and that'll solve all your issues.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, we're at 3:00,
Yeah.
Ben. We appreciate your time. We know you got things on the go. Shameless plug for people to find you. Where's the best place for people to follow you?
Sure. Well, I mean, you could follow my random musings on X at Ben Rabity, but be prepared to be offended because I don't really have much of a filter and I say what's on my mind. If you're in the real estate space and you want some analysis, edgeanalytics.ca, you can sign up you try it for free for a month. You get cool marketing infographics, really great reports, including deep dives at the big metros across the country and what's happening there. And that's a great way to find it. Yeah, check it out.
Awesome. We'll put a link for that in the bottom. And we appreciate you coming on the show for the first time. And hopefully we can check in next year again with you and just to see how this ages, all the information that we got going on today. So that'd be great.
Appreciate it. Okay, that's great, guys. Thanks a lot. Oh.
Do you have anybody else you would like to tell to fuck off before we go?
No, man, I think you got my bases covered.
There we go. All right. I'm glad you got that one
We'll
out.
clip that and make sure it gets out there.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Have a good
Ben.
one.
Thanks,
yeah,
Ben.
take care.
Okay, see you.